we're proud to present Equality California's Achievement Award to the fearless, the fabulous, and what I would say in Espanol is más chingona, Ginny Foat!
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Elizabeth and Jackie. You know, those two are the young age and they have accomplished so much. And those two women are truly the future of our freedom. So I want to, they are. And it's up to us to mentor the younger generation. Thank you also to Equality California for this incredible honor. This organization is responsible for so many of the freedoms that we enjoy today. Those gains all began under the leadership of this pesky guy I met in 2003, sitting outside a fundraiser at an estate here in Palm Springs. So I just want to give a special call out to one of my dearest friends and fellow council member, and thank you for all you've done, Jeff Coors. I think one of the most remarkable things for me is that people get honored for doing deeds that are the right thing to do. I've never set out to change the world, but somehow most of the time I've ended up in groups that have done just that. Much of what I have been passionate about, much of what I have marched for or organized for or shouted about has been part of the incredible history, and there are many people in this room who have managed to alter that history. It all started with my first job, which was as a secretary in a little school about 50 miles from New York City. It was, at the time, a school for what was called juvenile delinquents. They actually were African-American boys from the inner city of New York City, and when I started, Floyd Patterson had just graduated from that school. I was a young Italian girl from Brooklyn, and a very, all right, is this for the Italians or Brooklyn? But and I came from a very Italian family that had never met a black person, or horrors ever met a gay person. Little did I know at the time that my work would lead me to be besides Eleanor Roosevelt, as she and I worked on special charity events for the school, or that my weekly trips to New York City to work on a little event that was happening in Washington, D.C., which I thought was called the March for Jobs and Freedom, and which later became known as the iconic Martin Luther King March on Washington. So how could I know at that time that working alongside Bayard Rustin, the New York Organizing Committee, would make an impression that lasted throughout my lifetime and impacted the lifetime of so many others at that march. I have been so fortunate to stand in times in our history that have made a difference in all of our lives. So whether it was working as the co-chair of the Los Angeles County HIV/AIDS Commission, or on the 1987 March on Washington, which was the first time that the quilt was ever fully displayed on the mall, or the March for Women's Rights, or the March for Peace, or unions, or I just love marches, I guess. Or working with our dearly departed icon in the gay community, Gene O'Leary, and Rob Eichberg to help plan the first National Coming Out Day. Something I inherently always understood, that one has only as much freedom as has been given to everyone else. Getting this Lifetime Achievement Award has prompted me to think back to all of the incredible events I've had the privilege to be part of. It also prompts me to say that no matter how small or insignificant you think a decision is that you make to take a stand and fight for what you think is right, do it, because only you can change the world. And it is in these times with this vile pretender in the White House that we need to put our fighting gloves back on, lest we lose all of the rights we have fought so hard to achieve. I will not stand by as my transgender brothers and sisters are discriminated against, or women lose their right to choice, or any of the things we fought so hard about. So, when you get that call from Equality California, answer it. Or when someone wants you to picket or march or phone bank, do it. Know that now, more than ever, we cannot allow those right-wing bigots running our country to take away the freedoms we have fought so hard to achieve. You will know when you close your eyes, you're able to say, I made a difference. I fought for what was right. Helping me make that difference in the past 30 years of my life is the love of my life, my wife, Pamela. And I want to acknowledge my other council member, J.R. Roberts, who's also sitting, who I am so sad I'm leaving these two on the council without me. But Lisa and Christy will take my place and do well. And also sitting at my table is my dear friend of 28 years, Jeff Appel, who flew in from New York City to be with me tonight, and along with his husband and children will always be my family. Thank you, Jeff. I thank you all for this honor. I am so touched by it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I cannot leave the stage without saying how incredible it is to be standing on the same stage as one of my sheroes. Maxine Waters and I have been friends for over 40 years, a fellow warrior. Many of you don't know that might be because some of you weren't born yet, but in 1975, a bold black man from San Francisco named Willie Brown authored and passed legislation in the state assembly that legalized homosexuality in California. We became legal. We had all through his tenure as speaker in the 80s, Maxine was the whip for Willie Brown. And we had some great times together fighting for women's rights with a very Republican-leaning legislature. Maxine is the strongest and most tenacious woman I have ever met, and throughout the years had the pleasure to fight at her side. Once you know Maxine, you never forget her, and that no-nonsense voice that makes politicians quiver. So I just needed to say, congratulations, Maxine.